Hi there, and welcome to our very first webinar for positiveinfluencer.ca. Today we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about body image. My name is Shauna Shawkin. I'm the Health Promotion Educator here at Banna.
My name is Luciana Rosu Cieza, and I'm the Interim Executive Director at Banna.
We want to start with some statistics on body image. So the first one is 1 in 5 women will suffer from an eating disorder. We often do talks to groups of girls, and usually it's in the form of a gym class. So we will say to them, if there's 25 of you in this room, stop and look around for a minute. And 5 of you will suffer from an eating disorder. So when you put it in that context, it seems to really hit home, and it is very shocking.
We also look at the next stat. Canadian children in grade 3 and 4, so these are 8 and 9-year-olds, actually reported that they'd rather lose a parent, get cancer, or live through a nuclear war rather than be fat. And we really see how the fat word and the industry of thinking that the ideal is not to be overweight is really affecting young people.
It's definitely consuming, and so young that we see girls as young as age 4 that are worried about their weight. So we think, wow, that's crazy, but the bottom line is that the bullying and teasing, which we refer to as body-based harassment, is happening at such a young age, and it seems to be the go-to when somebody is looking to make fun of somebody else. We always go to appearance first. So
Absolutely. We also see, when you think about this, people wanting to alter their appearance. We looked at a study that looked at 500 girls, and these were 500 10-year-old girls that 81% of them reported that they had already been on a diet at least once. So when you think about altering your appearance, Shauna, that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to fit into something that is the ideal.
yeah, exactly. So we also looked at another study, and it was grades 7 to 12, and we have 30% of girls and 25% of boys, which I think some people might find interesting, who reported that they were teased by their peers about their weight. So it's happening in both genders, all ages. We can see a variety of ages here, and it's a concern.
So for all of you adult influencers, I think sometimes we think that body image really, or negative body image really affects females. But the next stat says that 43% of men are dissatisfied with their bodies. So that really shows us that it really truly affects men and women.
It really does, yeah. So those are some statistics for you guys. And now we wanted to kind of touch on what body image is. So it's something that we hear all the time, but we don't always know what it means. So sometimes there's a discrepancy between appearance and body image. So just to clarify that for you guys, my appearance is the way that I look. So I'm sitting here, you guys can see my appearance. It's the color of my eyes, the color of my hair, and so on. My body image is how I feel about all of that. Okay, so we often say to the students that we're presenting to, you can see my appearance, but you can't see my body image, which is why it's so important for adult influencers like yourselves to be in tune with youth, because you can't see what's going on all the time, and there's a lot of internal feelings when it comes to body image that just they would suffer in silence.
Absolutely, and I think that a lot of people think about, does everybody have to have a really positive body image on a daily basis? I think we all have to give ourselves a little bit of slack, that there are days that we don't feel so great about ourselves, and that goes with the youth as well, very young people, right? The reality is that to feel good about yourself most days, and to feel comfortable in your body, and to feel comfortable and to see your body accurately for what it is.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I think when you have a negative body image, that's the opposite. You feel uncomfortable with the way that you look. You don't see your body accurately, probably the way other people see you. So it's really important that it can definitely have implications on how you feel about yourself, but also how you interact with peers and other people in your life.
Absolutely. And oftentimes we wonder, well, is it always that we have a fully negative body image, or is it always fully positive? And that's not usually the case. So we can have a negative or positive body image towards certain aspects of our appearance. So for example, if I am 5'7" and I go to bed every single night just hoping and praying that I'm going to wake up and be 6 feet tall, I have a negative body image towards my height. So you can see that that's just one aspect of my appearance. So it's not that it's always all negative and all positive, but I think it's just that balance of finding acceptance, right?
Absolutely.
So we know that we are not born with body image. So we develop it, and it is influenced by many different things. So we wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight as to what influences body image. So the first one is appearance-focused peers. But I think that we could actually substitute the word peers for society, because I think society on a whole is just so consumed with appearance. We always want to be looking our best. We're worried about what other people think about the way we look. So that is a huge influence on body image. And also the media. So we know that the youth in your lives and all of us cannot escape the media. And now we have social media. So we can do the comparison that we inevitably do all the time. We can do it with each other in person, and now we can do it on social media, right? So there's this added pressure and influence on body image as well.
I think body image, I mean, if you think as a parent or family member, they definitely have a real impact on body image. A lot of times we see that family members or parents will comment on their kids. Sometimes you have two children that have very different body shapes and sizes. And genetically, obviously, we know that genetically we all don't look the same, and that goes in families as well. But it's really about the language that we do use with our children and around our children. So it's really about role modeling as well. So as a parent or even any influencer, it's really about role modeling positive behaviors around your body. So I would encourage all of you adult influencers to look at yourself and examine your own body image. So what do you talk about in terms of, do you ever say, oh, I look fat in this, or I'm not eating this, I'm going to restrict this? Those are things that those little ears hear, and they internalize them as things that perhaps they think that they should be doing as well. So actions and words both speak very loudly, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. We always say, you are much more likely to look like your mother or father or sister than you are your best friend, right? So those genetics do play a big component.
Absolutely.
We also have those direct comments about weight, shape, and size, right? So that again goes back to that body-based harassment. So it's these comments, and it doesn't even have to be negative, but for example, the go-to for us is just when we see someone that we haven't seen for a while is to automatically comment on their appearance. So you might hear things like, wow, you look so young, or you look so thin, and it's the first thing that we want to say to somebody, but we really want to try to change that dialogue a little bit and comment on something other than appearance. Yeah. And then I feel like some of these comments affect people differently, right? So some of us are a little bit more vulnerable. Sometimes these comments really stick with us and they really affect us. Some people, it goes in one ear and out the other, but that's not always the case. So personality traits definitely have a big influence on body image as well. So we wanted to also give you some tips as the adult influencers who are around youth in your daily lives. Some things that you can use as reminders for youth. So we know what body image is, we know, all of the influences, but what are some tips, right? So we wanted to share these with you guys today. So I will let Lucy do that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I think it's really important to remind your youth to appreciate their body. I always say we only have one body, and it's really important that not only do we appreciate it, but we also respect it. So we want to treat our body the best way that we can because we need to have it for a lifetime.
Absolutely, yeah. And then, we always hear that saying that true beauty is not skin deep, right? So it's more of what's on the inside. And sometimes we hear that and we think, oh yeah, okay, but society tells us otherwise, right? But when we go out to the schools and do presentations and we ask the children, some of them are even in high school, some younger adults as well, we ask them if you could pick all of the best qualities that you would look for in a friend, what would they be? And we hear things like honesty, trustworthy, somebody that makes me laugh. So we never ever hear anything about appearance. We never hear anyone say that my best friend has to look a certain way. So that tells us right there that we know that when we're looking for friends or looking for people that we want to surround ourselves with, it's about the inner qualities. We really need to remember that and point those out in each other.
Absolutely. The next one, look at the whole person. I mean, we are an entire person with many different facets. I like to use the example, and I used to use this when I used to go into the schools years ago with the youth, that saying, if we looked at a gift and a present, right, and we looked at the wrapping paper, it could be wrapped up very beautifully, yet the gift inside may not be as great as it looks in the outside. The opposite can be, right? We say that, something can be wrapped up in newspaper, but it's so fantastic, and once you get to the core of that, it's even better. But the reality is that with any gift, what do we do with the wrapping paper? Well, we usually throw it out. We reuse it, we may give it to somebody else, but we don't hold and treasure it as much as we do with the actual gift. And that appreciation is there. So it's really important to think about that whole package, right?
Yeah, I like that one. We also have to be around positive people. So we know that life is much more enjoyable when we're around positive people, right? And we want to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with these people as well. We often, if we're around people that are criticizing themselves constantly, it really gives us permission to do the same about ourselves and other people as well, right? So it's kind of a vicious cycle. So the way to break that is to be around people that are being positive. It doesn't allow you to be negative. So just to keep in mind.
Great point. So there's no right body. I think the media continuously sells us this ideal, and that ideal has changed over time. If we think about 30, 40 years ago, what was ideal then is not necessarily what is ideal now. The reality is that the right body is the right body for you. And that means that you shouldn't compare yourself to other people's bodies. Mm-hmm. And there's not only one type of body. People come in all shapes and sizes. And I think that's a really good point to remind your youth that it's really more about behaviors, and it's really more about eating healthy, being physically active, getting enough sleep, not feeling stressed out, not using so much time, on screen time and things like that. That's how you can become that healthy person, and then you have the right body for yourself.
Absolutely. And when we talk about, the right body for yourself, that brings us into our next point. So we're talking about wearing comfortable clothes, which sounds a little bit silly, but we see a lot of fashion trends happening and a lot of different things. And the bottom line is wear what is comfortable for you, for your body. So don't restrict yourself from wearing things if you like it or it makes you feel good. And on the flip side, you don't need to try these fashion trends just because other people are doing them, right? So just an important thing to remind your youth that they don't always have to be following the crowd, and in turn they will develop a more positive body image if they can be comfortable in their clothes and feel good about themselves.
And that's true. I mean, with all of these increasing media messages that we continuously see, there's a lot of trends on media. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be doing another webinar talking more specifically about social media and the effects on body image as well as self-esteem and just life in general. But really, media has a definite impact on body image because truly there's so many editing tools and photoshopping tools these days that people don't truly look like the way they look. So they're comparing themselves to something that's not real.
Absolutely, yeah. And we also find people, and we all do it, we worry about our weight, right? Mm-hmm. It becomes something that we constantly think about. We need to stop doing this. So worry about things that matter. Worry about building positive relationships, about your career and what you're doing and what kind of a person you are. So there's so many other things you could worry about. And we often say, throw away those scales. Mm-hmm. We get so consumed with that number that we see and we think that it tells us everything when really it tells us nothing about our health. So we really want to just stop worrying about weight in general. And if you as an adult influencer can remind youth to stop doing this as well as doing it yourself, that whole modeling process again, then it just overall will encompass a more positive body image. So that brings us to the end of our very first webinar. We want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and stay tuned to the few other webinars that we have coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.